Hello, my name is Kristen Oliphant and I will be doing my project on H&M plus size clothing expansion in the UAE. My client is H&M. The issue is with increasing desire for a more inclusive brand that caters to all body types, H&M plans to expand their clothing line to offer plus size options. The focus is what would this expansion look like in the United Arab Emirates, going through the situation analysis, country analysis, organization analysis, publics analysis, SWOT analysis, potential target publics, and conclusion. As for background research about plus sizes in the UAE, it proved challenging to find out as a society how they view with plus size people and what they are doing to incorporate those people into their industry markets. So for the first bullet point, I wanted to mention that the UAE has a dress code for the public spaces. This shows that they are a very strict and reserved country, so it is important to note that when it comes to researching plus size clothing trends and the common thoughts surrounding the topic. The body positive movement has been blown up in the United States over the last few years with the unrealistic standards of today's fashion industries and the frustration both men and women have when trying to purchase trendy clothes in mainstream retailers. This movement has spread to other nations, including the UAE. However, it's not as celebrated in the Middle East as it is here in the States. Other brands who have tried to find models for their curvy lines mentioned it was challenging to get some of the women to celebrate their bodies and pose as models for the brand. This shows that the UAE still has an aversion towards plus-size people as it is not 100% socially acceptable. A majority of the plus-size clothing that has been offered in the UAE over the last few years has been catered towards older women and is not very trendy. The retailers in this area did not see a market on this topic until only recently, with the body positive movement and other retailers including more sizes in their clothing options. There has been an influx of both clothing online and in-store retailers who offer trendy plus-size clothing that ranges up to a size 30 in most cases. As I stated before, the UAE has some strict tendencies within their culture. The Middle East is known for having a one-way, unbalanced public relations model with the government controlling much of the communication. Now let's take a look on how the UAE ranks with the United States. The UAE values a high power distance, meaning that bosses or authority figures are very much revered in the society compared to us, where we have a medium to low power distance. The UAE values collectivism, meaning that they value groups more than the individual, while the US is very independent. This I found the most interesting. The UAE cannot be considered masculine or feminine as a country, which varies from Hofstede's model, where he states the Middle East as a very masculine group of countries. Finally, the UAE has a high uncertainty avoidance, meaning they adhere to a strict code of belief and behavior. Delving more into how the UAE conducts business and who they are, I found some key factors that would aid in the PR campaign of expanding plus-size clothing to the UAE. First would be that the UAE has a dress code for some of their public spaces. This is largely because even though the UAE exercises religious freedom, it is predominantly an Islamic country. And Islam is a religion where there are dress restrictions. In the UAE, it is advised for women that you do not wear tight-fitting clothes, you cover your shoulders, knees, and everything in between. They do not require the women to wear a headscarf. However, if you are entering a mosque, it is required that you do. For men, tank tops and V-necks are frowned upon, and wearing women's clothes could get you arrested. For both men and women, sports clothes are not to be worn outside of the gym like how it largely is in the United States. This would influence a lot of what H&M should put out to this market. They should provide plus-size clothing for men and women that does not go against these dress restrictions, otherwise they might offend the culture. The UAE has a very liberal and easy way of doing business, which is important for H&M to know about this country. However, it is important to note that the individuals who are working on this campaign should have a deep understanding of Islam and respect for the religion. Business professionals in the UAE expect that Westerners know this before they conduct business in their country because of the ideals because the ideals of Islam are very present in their society and business practices. If H&M were to establish an office in the UAE to run this campaign and also do customer relations, the structure of this internal communications would be difficult because a majority of the people in the UAE are not locals, meaning it is a melting pot of different languages, religions, cultures, and beliefs. But I'll get more into that later. The businesses in the UAE are heavily relationship and family oriented, which related back to the religious aspect mentioned earlier about how Islam is present in society as well as business practices. H&M should know this to know what should be emphasized while working with other businesses partners in the UAE to distribute their clothing as well as their campaign approach. Maybe an ad that pictured H&M working alongside families in the UAE in a community relations project would help them boost engagement for their new plus size line. While in most countries, PR practitioners target regionally, it is a little different in the UAE. The PR structure in the UAE has an international focus because, as mentioned earlier, 80% of the population are not locals and come from many different areas around the world. Most journalists in the UAE are not comfortable speaking English. Same goes with a lot of the CEOs. It's important that the H&M team has someone who speaks Arabic. To have a successful campaign in the Arab world, your PR campaign needs to be targeted, localized, relevant, and in the right languages, similar to the SMART model. Finally, most of the PR campaign in the UAE is outsourced to other countries. So if H&M was looking at the UAE to hire a PR firm to help them with this campaign, they might want to instead look at a PR firm who has done successful campaigns in the UAE before. That way they can avoid offending someone. H&M is the Swedish multinational fast fashion clothing line for men, women, teenagers, and children of different sizes. They also have accessories and now home decor, and they currently operate in 62 countries. Their clothing also varies depending on which country you are shopping in. H&M communicates through TV ads and all social media channels. H&M segments its products by style. They have different lines, including their divided line. Their clothes are classified as trendy and modern. H&M X Me is their campaign that they are doing on their site, where if you post a photo on Instagram and use that hashtag, you could be featured on their website. This is to show real people in their clothes as opposed to just models. H&M also has a campaign called Uni Days, where they offer a discount to college students if they can verify they are a student. This discount is 15% off. According to H&M, for many years, we have worked hard to build strong, long-term relations with our suppliers based on mutual trust and transparency. This allows us to disclose the names, locations, as well as additional information of their factories without major concerns about ongoing competition on the best available production capacity in their industry. Showing that relationships are important with this company, which runs congruent with UAE values. H&M has suppliers they contract with since they themselves do not own these factories who manufacture their clothing. They currently have 40 different countries ranging from North America, Africa, Asia, and Europe. However, sometimes in order to produce a certain print, to outsource processing factories that have to be notified to H&M. H&M has also launched a more recent campaign known as SIPP, S-I-P-P, the Sustainable Impact Partnership Program. This program uses their influence to promote better working conditions, ensure that human rights are respected, and reduce environmental impacts throughout their value chain. They work with the factories to push for systematic change in the countries as well as the textile industry. H&M values sustainable fashion. This means that they, as a company, value the materials that they use to make their products, value animal welfare, climate change, and clean water. They often work with WWF. H&M also has a code of ethics against anti-corruption, which states, at H&M, we make it a rule to act with integrity at all times. Our business principles commit us to comply with all rules and regulations in each country where we operate and not to accept any form of corruption. To show how H&M provides different clothes to different countries, both are from the new arrival tab but on different countries' shopping tabs. So on the left, you see the clothing that they are marketing to the Chinese market and the clothing that they are marketing to the UAE market. It is completely different, also with different models. The online fashion market in the UAE is expected to grow 21% during the next 5 years, up until 2022. Apparel makes up nearly 3/4 of the UAE's retail market. Dubai alone has an apparel market that is estimated at 11.5 billion in 2016. This was from mid-range offerings by retailers during shopping, festivals, and sales. There are many competitors because the people in the UAE are very fond of online shopping, as we Americans are. Here's a list of a few of the most popular ones according to people from the UAE. However, there are other online retailers like ASOS and Torrid who do offer plus-size clothing and shipping to the UAE. People in the UAE are very tech-savvy and place a high importance on having fashionable and trending clothing. There has been an increase in the desire for maternity wear, plus-size clothes, and sportswear, which is good for H&M to be expanding their options at this time. Their workforce is very diverse. Since there are so many different nationalities in the UAE, you can have a business that has over 80 different nationalities in it. But with that, as mentioned before, brings a challenge for internal communications. With that many different cultures, you want to be sure to address each one differently and not all the same. The people in the UAE have a dress code for their malls as well as if they belong to the Islamic religion. While not all people who live there or practice this religion, with a majority of people who live there do have a similar beliefs on what should be worn. It is a predominantly Islamic country that's main language is Arabic. This is important to note because a good portion of the people who live here don't feel comfortable speaking English. Other aspects to note about the UAE's publics is that it's the 9th freest economy in the world, as well as there being no federal corporate tax. For strengths, I included that H&M has a good CSR program in place like the SIPP and sustainable fashion as mentioned earlier. They also, as a company, value good relationships with their manufacturers and other businesses they work with. Weaknesses, I chose the fact that they have few PR campaigns that fit the topic of plus size. The programs they do have in place as of right now from their website are only showing off their clothes on normal people and discounts for college students and not something that is directly a part of the body positivity movement. They also do not own places where they manufacture the clothes, so that is a weakness because there can be delays in manufacturing, like if they have to outsource an item to do a print, as mentioned earlier. Opportunities for the H&M to conduct business in the UAE is that there is a profitable retail market and liberal business trade system, so doing business there should be relatively easy and successful. Threats include the vast amount of already known and established online and in-store retailers that have plus-size options available, and that there are a wide variety of nationalities in UAE, so conducting business and establishing PR campaigns can prove very difficult. Since H&M's whole purpose of this campaign is to expand their line to plus-size options, my first target public would be men and women who are plus size around the ages of 15 to 40. People above this age can wear these clothes too, but the modernity and trendiness of the clothes would lead me to believe people around these ages would be the most interested in these products. Throughout my research, I found that the UAE has a lot of plus-size bloggers who help women and men find size-appropriate and trendy clothes. I would target them because they could potentially write about H&M's plus-size expansion in the UAE, which would give the campaign more attention since it's from people that they already follow and trust. Throughout my research, in conclusion, In conclusion, even though the UAE is very different from the United States, H&M would be very profitable expanding there. If they overcome the different cultural barriers that come along with working in such a diverse country like the UAE, there would be no reason why this campaign would fail. The market is looking for more plus-size options, and the publics are willing to pay for these options, and the online and in-store retail market is only going to expand more over the next few years.